Hello everyone, and welcome to our online Bible study community. As you already know, we are beginning a new study with this introductory video today. We'll be getting into the biblical text tomorrow and praying our way through the Gospel of Luke. But first, I wanted to give you a very brief introduction to the book that we will be studying together in the next 4 months. Let's begin with a short quiz. What do you think about that? Okay, question number 1. Who is the author of the Gospel according to Luke? Well, of course, it's Luke. Number 2. Who wrote more of the New Testament than any other author? That's right, it's Luke. He wrote both the Gospel of Luke and its sequel, the book of Acts. So, he wrote approximately 1/4 of the entire New Testament. No other contributor to the New Testament wrote as much. Question number 3. How you doing so far? Are you 100%? Question number 3. Who is the only Gentile author of any of the New Testament writings? That's right, it's Luke again. All the others, Matthew, Mark, John, Paul, Peter, James, and Jude, were Jewish. Now that might mean something to us as we read through Luke, the only gospel written by a Gentile author. Which of the authors mentioned above were both a physician and a traveler with the Apostle Paul on some of his missionary journeys? Yep, that's right, it's Luke again. Let's talk about when this gospel was written. It's not very easy to determine that. Some scholars think that Luke's gospel may have been written between 75 and 85 AD after the fall of Jerusalem, but others believe it was written during the 60s or soon thereafter. We can probably say that it was likely written then between 30 to 50 years after the life and ministry of Jesus. Let's talk about the audience. To whom was the gospel written? Who were the original readers? Well, as you know from your reading, it's addressed to a most excellent Theophilus. That's Luke chapter 1 and verse 3. By the way, the book of Acts is also addressed to Theophilus, which is one reason we put these two letters together. Who was Theophilus? Well, he may have been a Roman official to whom Luke aims to defend Christianity, or perhaps Theophilus was a new convert who was in need of an exact and authoritative account of the life and ministry of Jesus. Or, quite possibly, he may have been the patron who sponsored this composition. It could be that Luke may have been writing to every friend of God, since Theophilus means friend of God, and he meant it to refer symbolically to anyone who is open to God's truth. But I think it's more likely that Theophilus was the name of a specific person. And in all likelihood, Luke's original readers were Gentile Christians. I want to repeat that, and I invite you to think about this statement. In all likelihood, Luke's original readers were Gentile Christians. That is, they were not unbelievers, and they were not Jewish in their background. For several reasons that I won't go into, we may conclude that they were Greek-speaking, and we may deduce that they were Christians from Luke's prologue, where Luke states that one of his purposes in writing is to confirm teaching that was already held. Luke chapter 1 and verse 4. Finally, I want to mention that we're going to be reading the Gospel of Luke on 3 levels. First of all, we'll read it on the historical level. Luke is certainly an historian, and his aim is to write an orderly account of what has happened. That's what the prologue tells us. So as we read Luke, we'll be learning what actually happened once upon a time in history. The life of Jesus, the teachings of Jesus. Luke writes as an historian. But we're also going to read this letter on a theological level. Luke is a careful historian, but he's also a theologian. He is using the stories and the teachings of Jesus to say something to the church of his day. And then finally, we're going to be reading this text on a 3rd level. How does this apply to my life today? Well, I'm sure I've gone over my self-imposed limit in this introduction, so I'm going to stop right here. If you need a reading schedule or an explanation of the 3-column Bible study community, please go to our website. You can find all the tools that you need there. And I'm going to see you online in the next day or two when we start our great study of the book of Luke. Again, I'm so glad that you've joined us in this study group. We have probably over 250 people now who are signed up in this study group. And you'd be welcome to post your prayers every day or not if you don't want to, but we're just glad you're here. God bless you in this great study. And I'll see you tomorrow, well, in a few days. God bless.